So now we have another installment of Confidently Wrong with Adrian and Wendy, which should be sponsored by Prevagen based on how bad our memory was in our last episode, because we made a bunch of factual errors and stuff in there.
Oopsies.
I'm going to say a lot of that is going to fall into what I'll call the I could have sworn in the memory. You can have all of the notes. I mean, what you don't see is that both of us have a screen in front of us full of all of the notes, all of the research, all the details that we're going to talk about as we do an episode. But then there are just things that come up in conversation and you don't have it, on the sheet, and you're just going off memory.
It's all vibes then. And then you're like, oh no, truth and vibes, not the same.
Not the same. And the kinds of things, the kind of mistake you can make in conversation with your friends around a table is not the same kind of mistake you can make when you're on a screen, as many of you let us know. But you know what? What are you gonna do about it? So anyway, this is going to be our Japanese nationals recap and some other stuff. So Wendy, why don't you take us away?
Well then, welcome to Choreography, a show about the greatest sport on ice, figure skating. I'm Wendy Buskey.
And I'm Adrian Buskey. And as I just said, we are going to be talking about the 2025 Japan National Championships, or All Japan Championships, or Japanese Nationals, or however you want to refer to them, because every federation, every country refers to their championships in different ways, but we're going to call them Japanese Nationals.
And we're going to call them so good.
So good. So many amazing things. Some wonderful, incredible performances, as we would have expected. Some places where there were no surprises, I think, overall, and some big surprises in a few others. Mostly just in a few people who didn't perform as well as we would have expected. But overall, though, what we were able to see of the competition, because we were seeing it piecemeal on YouTube, but a lot of really exceptional things. But why don't we just dive right into it? We will talk about some other national events that happened around the same time too, but I think we're going to try to keep this one relatively concise. Yeah, like why don't we just jump right into the women's event, because I think that is what we've all been fixated on, thinking about, talking about,
it's
worried
what
about.
We've all been waiting for.
Yes.
And I think that whenever you break it down into the Olympics versus what happened at nationals, they're a little bit different, where it's that feeling of the Olympic team is pretty much what we thought it was going to be going in. It was Kaori Sakamoto, Mona Chiba, and Ami Nakai. So when you look across the whole season, it all makes sense. Everybody performed well. But the experience of Japanese nationals, I am so jealous of everyone who got to be in the arena for this particular event, because especially the women's free skate was just magic. It was just so amazing to watch that I am at the point of Olympic spots are almost irrelevant. I just watched the best competition I'm going to see this season, I think, because I mean, wow, just absolutely amazing.
I mean, definitely some extraordinary performances, and some things that are really memorable, and also some skates that are going to be some of the last competitive skates on home ice for some of them, and are probably career enders, finishers for a couple of as well. And let's talk again about our three Olympic qualifiers,
for sure.
because when we talk about Kaori Sakamoto, Mona Chiba, and Ami Nakai, I mean, Kaori, it was always the obvious pick. She was going to go. I mean, unless something disastrous happened, she was going to be your number one draft, if you will, going into the Olympic season. Mona Chiba felt like a lock for the entire season until she really had a struggle in the free skate at the Grand Prix final, and that dropped her off the podium. And I don't think that ever completely took her out of the conversation, but the question was going to be, could she shake off what happened there?
Exactly.
And come back stronger at Japanese Nationals. And that is exactly what she did. And she put together really wonderful performances. And then, of course, the dark horse spoiler of the entire season has been the first senior season performances from Ami Nakai, who came right out the gate on the Grand Prix, winning her first event, has podiumed at all three of the Grand Prix events that she was in, and has just suddenly made her case for being one of the top Japanese women. And that doesn't change here. I think she had a little bit of a rougher skate when you look at, I think she had a fall on her triple axel, or a step out or something.
A step out, and she doubled it in the free skate. So it wasn't what she can do. And the one that she did in the short program was stellar.
Yes. But they were still great performances, still wonderfully performed. She just really captures a crowd. I think that as an an Olympian, I think she is going to be magical. I think it
Oh,
will be fantastic.
she like whenever her free skates started, like in the first like 30 seconds, I just turned to Adrian and was like, she is going to destroy at the Olympics, even regardless of if she medals or not. That's not what I mean. I just mean in the sense of she is so charismatic. It comes through so fast. There is such warmth and like, I don't know, like you just feel her when she's out there. It's so impressive at her age and with her experience level. It's just a natural talent, I think. It's just incredible. And I really feel like she is the type of skater that is going to make young skaters want to skate. Like
Yes.
she is just so engaging to watch. But that said, as great as she was, I really want to spend a little bit of time talking about Kaori's final skate because with so much emotion tied up in it and like the fact that this is her final national skate and
Yeah, her final
oh
competitive competition on Japanese ice in front of
yes,
a hometown crowd in an audience who understood what was at stakes here. Obviously, I mean, it's it is maybe the best skating audience that you can get is in Japan. They're knowledgeable, they're enthusiastic, they're supportive, and this is one of the legends of the sport. You know, here in her final season, skating at home at her nationals, locking her title one more time before going on to that, that road to Milano Cortina. And yeah, something truly special.
it was. And I don't know if you've seen all this stuff online, but I highly recommend going around and digging through all the social posts. But there's one specifically that shows all of the other women who had skated before her watching her. So it's like Mai Mihara and Monachiba and Ami and they're all and Wakaba. Oh my God, Wakaba. And they're all like tearing up watching her finish her
Oh, I have
final
not seen this.
performance.
I don't know if
Oh,
I can handle that. That sounds
they're all
ex
excited. It's all happy
yeah.
tears, but like there's except I mean Wakaba looks devastated in the like that's her best friend.
Yeah.
Like in the most wonderful way. I'm sure it's super emotional because they're both finishing their career in terms of like skating on, competitive ice in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about Kaori's performances other than they are the archetypal Kaori Sakamoto skates,
Yeah,
beautifully performed, great jumps and technical elements, great
aggressive.
artistry, aggressive but still lyrical. All of that extraordinary quality that she's been exhibiting over this whole last quadrennial, where 4 years ago, she gets the surprise bronze at the Olympics, and then ever since has just ascended to this like goated tier, level of the sport. And I think she just is the gold standard of quality for women's figure skating. And you see that here both in her skates, but also in her presentation. We were talking about her at Grand Prix final, where like there was just this improvement in her styling, in her makeup, in her
Oh
like
yeah.
she looks like an Olympic champion. Like she's had that like additional glow up somehow in the presentation where she just looks even more beautiful and
The
more elegant and more fantastic.
the
And
makeup is so on point. The hair, everything. She looks like she's an Olympic champion already. Like
yeah,
it's incredible. So I'm thrilled for her, but I'm also thrilled for like you were talking about Moni. It's like she did have that extra pressure and like bad vibe of how not great
she had a
Grand
lot
Prix
of
final.
pressure to prove herself again after that.
Absolutely.
Going into this, it was not a guarantee that she would lock this down if she had a bad competition. She really had to prove. I think that she still had 2 seasons of great performances to stand on, but we also know, like I think it was last year, and if it was at Worlds or at Four Continents, that she had a pretty bad
Believe it
performance.
was four continents
Yeah,
because at World she was on the podium.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Here's the send me some memory help because I'm trying to keep all this from running together. But I do believe
Prevagen?
I
Are
do.
you looking for people to sponsor?
But I think that that I think she was ill at Four Continents, and I
Yes,
think that had a big impact on
I
her. But
believe
it does
so.
mean that there's a couple of very large international competitions where she did not show up very well, even though she is typically so incredibly consistent. And yeah, her coming in here, putting together a couple of great skates. That short program is still delightful. The changes or the updates that they made to work on her expressiveness really shows through. I thought the Romeo and Juliet program was really lovely here as
And
well.
and in the Romeo and Juliet program, she changed her dress.
Yes, I really like that new blue dress.
Yes, I do
Yeah.
too. And I think you said it while we were watching that she was just like, after the Grand Prix final, she's like, nope, no
Yeah, yeah,
more
yeah.
of
Just
that.
burn that old one. It like ceremoniously tossing the bad vibes and replacing them with good ones. And I don't know if that was the case here, but it did feel like it was symbolic in some way. But I really like that new outfit. I think it suits her really well. It moves a little differently. It looks good in the program. So
Yes.
yeah, I thought Moni was great. We are kind of skipping over the second place finish here,
Yes.
because the second place finish is it's not a gigantic surprise. It's Mao Shimada, who is the junior champion, has been for 1 million years in her. I made a mistake in the last episode. I somehow got it stuck in my head that very early on that she and Jia Shin had kind of like had a little bit stronger of a rivalry, because I had remembered them kind of going back and forth on scores. That was not true. Mao Shimada is undefeated in junior international competition.
I mean, she was her main rival.
She was her main rival, yes. It's one of those moments like, total brain fart where like you remember commentators talking about it at some point, and they were probably talking about PCS
Mhm.
scores where Gia would beat her every once in a while or whatever. One way or another, Mel Shimada has been the wrecking ball of junior women's skating for a number of years, and we figured that she would end up on this podium here as well because she is just such a dominant force. And we're not really talking about scores in any of these events because national events, it's just not the same kind of numbers.
It's not, but I do want to note that she is 12 points ahead of Monachiba and only 6 behind Kaori. So while that, I agree that overall the numbers shouldn't matter because they are nationals numbers and they
Sure.
kind of it's more about placements than
Yeah.
the numbers
Yeah.
specifically. It still really says a lot about one, what Mao is doing out there, but also it's the she goes into seniors next year, and
Yeah.
this presents her very clearly as the new favorite going into next season, alongside a Moni and an Ami and whoever else decides to stick around into the next quadrennial.
Yeah, I mean, if Mao Shimada is able, as she goes into her senior career, is able to hold on to everything that she has now and continue to blossom. I mean, she is the heir apparent. I mean, she has
Oh, for
been
sure.
extraordinary. But of course, looking at the rise of Ami Nakai, and you can hope that she can only get better over time. It means that even though we lose a couple of extraordinary competitors after this season, the next wave of Japanese women is extraordinary. So
Absolutely
there's a
incredible.
lot to look forward to. Mal here, of course, is dynamite. I think the only issue she had is she thinks she fell in her quad,
She did.
which she's been doing a lot this season, and does make me a little worried about like whether or not she's going to be able to hold on to that element. But the triple axels still look great. Her artistry, her spins are unreal,
Her
right? Like
spins
just
are the thing.
absolutely phenomenal. I do hope that as Mal moves into seniors, that they repackage her a little bit to look a little less juniorish in the presentation of her outfits and some of the musical choices, because it's fine. She is a junior and she is still like, I mean, I think she is just 17, but she didn't hit the age cutoff in order to be, Olympic eligible this season or senior eligible. But there is some times where they still kind of package her in a very young way that I hope that they evolve a little bit going to next season.
Especially in the musical choices, like the short program music this season feels very junior,
Yeah.
even though she skates it unbelievably well.
Yeah.
I want to see new, fresh senior Mao
Mhm.
going into next season. That would be
Yeah.
great. Where I would like to spend really the rest of the episode, but at least the next few minutes, is on who placed fifth, which is the wonderful, the epic, the elegant, the refined, the not going to the Olympics, but going to 4 continents, Yuna Aoki.
My favorite skates, no question, of
Easily. Oh my
everything here.
gosh.
I mean, it's no surprise that we absolutely adore Yuna Aoki because her skating is so genuinely beautiful.
It's
So
incredible. I love that Ashley Wagner refers to it as expensive luxury
luxury.
skating. And
Yes.
I'm like,
Yeah,
yes,
luxurious skate. Yes.
that.
Yeah, I saw Ashley's post about it and I was like, I couldn't agree more. I was like, that is so spot on how I feel about it. I think the surprise from you is not great skates, but it is a 5th place finish in
Yes.
this lineup of women, and particularly because she was 3rd in the free.
Heck yeah, she was. And
She beat both Moni and Ami Nakai in the free.
second with her components, just below Kaori by about 6-ish points, and cracked 70 on that side of things. So I'm like, the judges gave her the score she deserved.
Yes, finally, somebody.
Which was so great.
Yes.
And also, I was just thinking about the fact that she was 7th in the short program. If she hadn't doubled that triple combination, she would have technically been ahead of Ami.
That's wild.
I know. I
Yeah.
still don't think it would have changed Ami going to the Olympics by any
Sure.
means.
Yeah.
But it's still noteworthy and very likely why Yuna Aoki was named to the Four Continents team.
Yes. I mean, we've talked about so much ever since we kind of discovered Yuna Aoki a couple of seasons ago. I just remember her like showing up at like Challenge Cup and just being extraordinary. And I'm sure we'd heard her name, but I just wasn't really all that familiar with her. And then we watched her go out at this like smaller event and just be phenomenal. And ever since then, I'm always just watching her just astounded at her lyricality, the quality of her choreography, the presentation. Yeah, she's not the best jumper. And that always holds her back a little bit.
She's a solid jumper.
She's a
but
solid
she's not,
jumper. But yeah,
yeah.
but she, she doesn't have like the big ultra C's.
Yeah.
She isn't as technical as some of the others. But what she does have is just extraordinary artistic quality, the timing, the way that she uses the music, the way that she presents to the audience, the performance ability is off the chart. Her La La Land free skate here is just, I mean, again,
it's perfect. It's perfect. I don't care if there was a cue or whatever. Perfect.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, we were losing our minds after watching
Please,
that
I
performance.
am begging you, audience. I'm trying to get the camera on me. Yes, please go find it if you haven't watched it. Please.
Yeah.
It's so worth it.
Yes. And yeah, like you were saying, like, Ashley Wagner's, comments about her, her skating looks expensive. It looks luxurious. And like, I think she referred to her as fine champagne, and I'm like, yes. I mean, I could go on for the rest of this episode about how much Yuna Aoki was astounding. I am desperate for her to stick around for at least another season. She was supposed to retire before this one and was convinced to come back. And now it's like
validation.
Yes.
Is what that is.
Yeah. And the fact that she's going to get to go to 4 continents, which I am thrilled about, and really hoping that turns out very well for her, and that just more people just get to bask in the glow of what she does. But please give us more. She's like, what, 23?
I'm not going to say anything that could come back at me.
I
could be totally wrong.
I could be totally wrong. I think she's 23. I think Kaori's like, what, 26? I'm like, we could get another 3 years out of you. Come on. Whatever.
I want her to be happy, but also selfishly, please skate more.
Yes. In any event, that is a surprise considering a lot of the ranks of the rest of the women. And I think that as we kind of bounce around through a lot of the rest of them, we go down the rest of the rankings here. 6 was Mayuka Oka.
Another incredible junior skater.
Yes, and a very nice, I think, redemptive set of skates after having a little bit of problems at the Junior Grand Prix final. Even though she is dynamite and she is just, but her Peacock program, thrilling here. Great free skate, really nice set of performances from her.
I loved the crowd response to her. At the end of her short program, the crowd lost their minds. It was very cool.
Yeah.
And I do feel very strongly that she is, I know we always talk about ones to watch, but yes, keep an eye on her. Remember her name. She's going to be around for a while.
Yeah, she is a dynamic artistic skater. She doesn't skate like anybody else. And I like the point of view of her programs and stuff. It just, yeah, very, very good. When we get into seventh, this is where the next one of our like legitimate contenders was for like the Olympics and, you know, some of these other events. You have Rinka Watanabe. I think Rinka performed very solidly here. And she did what she's been looking to do this whole season, which is just to go out and throw it as hard as she could in making the case for herself, you know, being on, you know, one of these teams, whether for the Olympics or for continents. And she does not get selected for either, unfortunately. I will, four continents. So the four continents, team, we haven't really talked about this other than Yuna Aoki, is also, I think, Ami Nakai and Mona Chiba, right?
Correct.
And it's very possible that either one of those other two women could say, you know, with us going to the Olympics, maybe four continents isn't the right choice for us. I don't know what the Fed will really want from them there, or what the expectations will be. But I believe Rinka is one of
She's
the
one of them, I
alternates.
believe, and the other is Wakaba Higuchi.
Yeah, but Rinka went in here. Notably, I mean, she's just barely out of the sixth place position by like a tenth of a point or
Yeah,
something, like
it's
a couple
so
tenths.
very, very close.
It's super, super close. She does really nice programs, but this entire season, she's been focusing on that technicality because she isn't as quite as strong an artistic skater as, you know, some of the top women in Japan. And even though she is wonderful in her own right, I mean, she's an amazing skater. She's one of those skaters that, like, in an era where you weren't up against people like Kaori Sakamoto, I think you'd be a
Mm.
superstar. But like, you know, she's in ranks of women there who are all just kind of astounding.
I did see that Rinka, after the competition, did mention that she had previously been thinking that if she didn't make the Olympic team, or likely just that, but maybe four continents, she was likely going to retire. But now she's kind of taking a step back to really consider that,
Oh,
because she's like, maybe this whole season of doing much better
yeah.
is a sign that she shouldn't give up just yet. So,
Yes.
but she doesn't know yet. She
Yeah.
needs some time.
I love that, you know, Rinka went into this season and not only added the triple axel into her repertoire, but she put 3 of them in.
Well, she
you
had
know?
had it before, but
Sure.
not as consistently by any means.
It had been a little while, and I think that, you know, since we've seen her like throwing it a ton, and for her to come in and be like, no, I'm going to throw it in the short and twice in the free.
And in combination.
Yes, I mean, I think that just really proves like how dedicated she was to really like making that case for herself. And I think that even early in the season, when it wasn't clear if those were going to be consistent jumps or if she was going to land them all the time, she wasn't giving up on it. Like, that was the dedication she had this season, that she was going to differentiate herself by having those powerful ultra Cs. And I mean, I think that she's been compelling this. I mean, I always love Rinka, but like,
Yeah.
but I think she's been really compelling this season. And considering the other women who are retiring, like, I would love if we got another season or 2 out of her. So
Me too.
I would hope for that. But then I think that naturally brings us into the 8th place finish, and one of the other very bittersweet elements of this event, which was the final competitive, as far as we know, the final competitive performance of Wakaba Higuchi. And thankfully, she performed 2 really wonderful programs after having such a difficult season, like so many problems throughout this season, dealing with injury, dealing with like some really poor skates and some really frustrating performances, and just seeing that Olympic dream evaporate has got to be just so extraordinarily difficult. But to come in here on home ice and finish out her career with a couple of just wonderful programs, it made me very happy. It obviously made the crowd very happy. But again, the very definition of bittersweet.
Oh, completely. But it was so wonderful. Like, her Wonder Woman free skate was fantastic. It was so much fun to see the joy on her face when she would land a few specific jumps that, you
Mhm.
know, just felt good to
Yeah.
get out. And her like ending footwork, I struggled to not like just cry the whole time. But strangely with Wakaba, unlike Kaori, where by the end I'm like a mess, with Wakaba, I actually wasn't. I just felt like relief
Mm.
and gratitude that we got to watch her for as long as we have. And just to see her smiling and how much that crowd gave her so much love, it just, I don't know, it just felt like the right way to end. It
Yeah.
just felt really good.
And I really appreciated that there seemed to be a little bit of an allowance for people like Kaori and Wakaba to take just a little more time at the end
Yes.
of their performances, and the crowd just continued to be on their feet, continued applauding, continued supporting them. I mean, Wakaba went flat out on the ice afterwards when she got done, just total like splat after the exertion of putting on that performance. I love that she shared that on Instagram afterwards, where it was like a photo of her, I think, in the kiss and cry or on the ice. I forget what it is, but the second photo is her like splat on the ice, and it was pretty adorable. But yeah, I mean, I think that you hit the right word there, which is gratitude, which is that, she has had a lovely career. She has always been underscored. She has so frequently been underappreciated over the course of her career, which is really frustrating considering the quality of character, of skating, of artistry, of everything that she has done over the course of this career. And I really hope that she's one of those people that in the years afterwards continues to be remembered as just really one of the finer skaters of the era. And yeah, like you said earlier, she is a alternate for continents. I think that's probably unlikely that
I
she'll get
agree.
that nod, or that she will, or that will happen, because I think she's the second alternate.
I
And
think
I don't.
she's first alternate, but I don't think it
Oh,
matters
yeah.
still. I just don't think
And I
that's going
don't
to
know that she
happen.
would want to do it
That's
offhand.
more why, because I saw her Instagram post kind of felt like a goodbye.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that I think she went out. I think she went out as strong as she probably could, under the circumstances. So, as a swan song goes, I think it was a really strong one.
It really was.
In ninth was Sakamoto, who I think a lot of people were talking about going into this, was one of those like skaters that not a lot of people had really seen in international competition this season, but was still very much capable of challenging a lot of the other top women here. And I'm still a top 10 finish, so significant. The other one that of course, I'm always going to want to talk about is my Mihara, who does land in the top 10, which I don't know that I would have expected necessarily after not really having an international competitive season over the last couple of years, because of injury and issues. She just hasn't been there. Again, if you've listened to the show for a long time, you'll know that Maya is one of my absolute favorite skaters. Her Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence short program is probably my favorite short program of all time. I absolutely love it so much. She did really wonderful skates here, and I think that she, we've seen them be stronger, of course, in the past, but knowing this is also her finishing her competitive,
Yeah.
because I mean, there's like Kaori Sakamoto, Wakaba Higuchi, and Mai Mihara all essentially retiring out like
I
after
mean,
this.
that's gutting. It really is.
Like, you're gonna just like wipe out like a huge chunk of my favorite skaters, like, in the course of like this event, and then over the next couple of months is brutal. And for me, is like the most emotionally damaging
I was going to
of all
say,
that.
Mai is your Shoma. Like when
Yes.
Shoma retired, I was distraught.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it feels very similar for you and Mai.
For sure. But I was thrilled to see her put together two very nice skates. And I think that she can be really proud of what she accomplished here. I think considering the kind of competition at this event, a top 10 finish is absolutely fabulous to
It
finish
is. It
out.
really is.
And yeah, I mean, Mai was terrific and wonderful, wonderful skates.
And to also give that additional bit of love, that crowd just absolutely gave her that beautiful moment, and all of the love right back to her.
Yeah.
All of the gratitude again, right to her, as she left the ice in tears, but in like the, I don't know, joyful tears.
Felt happy tears.
It
Yeah.
did.
I mean, Mai is one of those like bright, shining personalities. She feels so extraordinarily warm. And I don't know what happens next for her. I don't know what happens next for Wakaba. Like, I'm hoping that their careers still include show skating and tours and come to America and
Have fun with Satoko on Stars on Ice. How about that?
Exactly. Whatever it is, but hopefully we get to continue seeing them, outside of competition. I think the other things we have to talk about, though, are a handful of the skaters that we were still talking about in consideration for everything this season, and a lot of like really disappointing performances. When you look at Rino Matsuike in 11th, she's just barely behind Mai Mihara, and this isn't a bad set of skates for Rino. I mean, I think that like I think she came out of here with like what, like a 190. That's very respectable.
Absolutely.
It's just a tough competition, and I think that that's kind of consistent with the sort of things that she's been doing over the course of the season. Reno is sort of similar to Yuna Aoki, where like a lovely skills skater, but not necessarily a technician in the same way. And so we didn't really think that she was quite in the running for things here, but it's always nice to see her. The tough ones to talk about are Ryan Sumiyoshi, who was the other woman alongside Rinka, who really did have an opportunity to challenge for an Olympic spot or a Four Continents spot. And Ryan started the season so strong,
So
so
strong.
good, and then faltered in her second Grand Prix appearance. And yeah, and then here ends up in 18th
That's
overall.
devastating.
Yeah, that really beats me up because I'm a big fan of Rion. I like her skating. I love her programs. I really like I always call it her Pure Moods program. It's like one of my
Yeah.
favorites of the season. And she has such a cool point of view. Like her outfits are always interesting. Like stylistically, I always enjoy her. And she's a skater that like when we first saw her was much more of a jumper than an artist. And over the last couple of years, we've really seen her blossom into a more well-rounded skater. Unfortunately, it just seems like the pressure or whatever other circumstance just caught up with her here. But an 18th finish at Japanese Nationals is brutal. But the worst, I think, is Hana Yoshida not qualifying for the free skate.
Yeah. I don't even really want to spend too much time on it just because it's really unfortunate. But, a few seasons ago, Hana Yoshida, I mean, she made the Grand Prix final twice. She's been a very successful woman from Japan since she made her senior debut. It's just this season has not been it. And it just never felt like it got off the ground, which is such a sad thing because she does have really strong material. She's a delightful skater. It's just like her feet never got under her this year. And to not make the free skate is just, it's one of those go back to the drawing board moments. And I just hope she can quickly get past it, take some time, and then just start thinking about the future and let this stay behind her.
What I would like to see for Hana Yoshida going into this next season is I'd like to see them send her to somewhere in North America. I would like her to come over and spend time either in the States or in Canada in a new training environment with a different team. I mean, we know like Hana's completely English fluent and very comfortable with the international skaters. And I think I would just like to see her come into a new environment where they can kind of work on her technique and maybe do something different. Because sometimes we see when a skater comes out and is great and then starts to falter, they really just need a change of environment. They need maybe some different coaching. It's not to say that it has to be 100% of what happens with her, but I just really would like to see her shift into another environment going forward. She is too good a skater for her to have fallen off as much as she has over this season. So I still have every confidence that Hana Yoshida can come back and really be a star, but this last season has not served her well, even with some really fun programs. So ideally, I just think that maybe some changes need to be made, and hopefully next season we'll see those changes.
I hope so. But overall, an incredible competition and one I hope can be like matched or even surpassed by the Olympics, but it's going to be tough because this one was really good.
It was really, really good. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the men's competition where I feel like the top two was almost preordained. Like
Yeah, I
going
mean, I
in.
don't think there's any question that Yuma, Kagiyama, and Shinsada were going to lock this up. I
Yeah.
mean, Yuma is, of course, like the top man in
Top
Japanese
man.
man, top man. But Shun Sato has been fantastically consistent through the course of the entire season. He has those beautiful textbook jumps. Shun is the slightly better technical jumper. Yuma is
On certain days.
yeah, it depends, but Yuma is more of the showman and the artist and generally a little bit better rounded overall. But
Yes.
we've seen over and over again that Shun can put some pressure on him. And I don't think either of them had like the best skates they've ever had here.
No, I mean, Shun was in fifth in the short, not that far back in terms of numbers, but wasn't perfect. And then he came out and won the free skate.
Yeah.
So it feels like a lot of competitions we've seen this season with a lot of the men, where it's like, as long as the scores are close, you really don't like the numbers and the ranks don't necessarily matter. It matters where you rank in the free. Like it's just staying close in the short. Regardless, they both did well enough here to very easily take their spots that they have earned over the course of this season. And I thought it like with Yuma, it's just been a almost like the get there, just do it
Mhm.
and make sure and to check that box that you need. For Shun, it just felt so emotional. I think part of it is this is his first Olympics. So, Yuma was and already has been an Olympic medalist.
Yeah.
So this is a little more special, I think, for Shun. I was not expecting the show of emotion from him the way you saw it, and it was really, really sweet and very endearing. And I'm just really excited for him.
Yeah, definitely like Shun getting his medal, getting the nod and everything. Like, yeah,
He so
obviously,
deserves it.
yes, absolutely terrific to see. But yeah, seeing his stoicness kind of break and
Yeah.
seeing him be more emotional. There's also like, there's a really great photo from behind the scenes with him and Kalmura where the two of them are cracking up at something. And I don't know, it's so like lovely and genuine. And it's just really great to see. But yeah, I'm thrilled for the two of them. They were the obvious choices. But again, like Shun was fifth in the short. So he had to make up some ground and he did that by winning the free, and I'm just thrilled for both of them. But the big question was who is going to lock in that third spot, because that really felt like a free for all, and it was not a given that Kalmura would come in here and give some of his best skates of the season in order to lock down that third spot.
I am so excited for him. If Cal is at his best, like when he is totally on, he can compete for big podiums.
Yes.
And we just haven't seen that version of him in a long time. But he is totally capable of it. So did he do that here? No. But his short program, he was second in the short and had a 95.65. That's a great score. His free skate was phenomenal in the first half.
Yeah.
His first three jumps, wow, chef's kiss, beautiful. It was when he had like a long section without a jump, and
There's a muddy middle for
there's
sure in
kind
that
of a muddy
program.
middle, and then he says to start back up and like, whenever you're in the bonus section. And it was like he just had enough time to have all the doubts sink back in. Either that or he got tired. I'm not sure. One way or another, the jumps definitely, he had to fight to stay
Yeah.
standing.
I don't know that the layout served him as well as you'd want there, but I am so glad that he went back to that free skate
Oh,
because
so
it is
much
serving
better.
him so much better. Yeah.
So much better. But regardless, his fight, his tenacity, and just you can tell how much work he's put in to get this spot that I feel like a couple of years ago was almost like a lock in a lot of conversations. Like Cal was just so on a few seasons ago.
Well, I mean, he was the junior world champion.
Mhm.
He was the four continents champion, both in the same season.
Yeah.
And
Within like a month of each other or something. It was like really, or maybe a few months, but very
yeah,
close.
but that was after he had fully collapsed at Japanese nationals that year, and
Exactly.
that's why they had pushed him into finishing off the juniors that season. But he dominated the junior men's competition.
It was like
then.
watching two different competitions.
Yeah. But he has been a lot less consistent over the last couple of seasons. He's always struggles with being a little wild and a little out of control, but when he's on, he can be fabulous. And he did what he needed to do here, and that is thrilling. And it makes me also, just beyond the regular excitement of this stuff, it makes me really happy that he'll be going to the Olympics as well. He and Ilya Malinin are very good friends, and I know that Ilya has got to be hyped about this
Oh,
as
for
well.
sure.
And, you always just like to see the international besties get to go and do those things together. So I got to
Yes.
think that in general, on top of everything else that's so excited about that,
Well,
you're going to have like a support base while you're there.
I'm also just excited he gets to go with Yuma and Shun. And I read something, and I don't know entirely the context, but they came up together, and
Mm.
like they basically told him like we need to go together, and that before the competition. So it was the like them hyping him up and cheering him on, like, yes, the three of us, we need to go.
Oh, that's
And
wonderful.
so
Yeah.
it's really cool that they get to go
Well,
together.
and yeah, you got to think all these guys, their lives have been like intertwined
Oh
for
yeah.
decades, at this
It's like
point.
seeing all those like baby photos of like young Ilya and Alyssa, and they're like 11 years old
Uh-huh.
hanging out together. And it's the same for these three. It's like you could take photos from, across the last decade, and
Mhm.
they're going to be around each
I look
other.
that it makes me think of a couple of years ago when you had Kaori Sakamoto and Luna Hendricks that were on the world podium together, and then they had photos of the two of them together when they were like 11 or something,
Yeah.
and so like they've been competing internationally against each other forever, and yeah, it's very sweet to see. But in any event, I very excited for these three guys to
Love it.
go. In fourth here was Ryo Nakata, the kind of the superstar of the junior men's Japanese team. We kind of expected Rio would be in the mix as far as like, getting higher up placement here. Obviously he can't go to the Olympics. He's a next quadrennial kind of skater. I do think that we saw some of the stuff that we often see from Rio, which is that like for as great as he can be, when a program starts to go awry, it can go really awry. And his free skate
Yes.
was all over the place.
Yes.
He is a unpolished diamond, like there's so
There's a
much
lot.
quality and
Yeah.
power and performance ability in him, but there's a lot yet to be done to like, kind of really bring it all in. But he is still a young guy, and he will make that jump into seniors next year. And there's a lot to look forward to with that, but still fourth place finish here, really strong. Fifth and sixth, we have the other two guys that we were talking about who were kind of in the mix as far as potentials. The long shot was, of course, Soto Yamamoto. I love Soto. I've always enjoyed him as a skater, as a personality, as his like fist pumps. He was a far cry option here, but
He
him coming
was a
in
long
fifth,
shot.
yeah, is really nice. And did he get the nod for Four Continents?
He did. He is on the Four Continents team. So, I mean, honestly, after the season he has had, that alone is great. That gives him something, I hope, to chew on and to kind of continue working towards.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what he's doing past this season. I have no idea. So I hope that Four Continents helps him kind of make those decisions.
Yeah. The sixth place finish, though, of Kazuki Tomono is the rougher one here because Kazuki was really in the running for that third spot alongside Kao. And over the course of this season, I think that Kazuki would have probably been the one you would have put money on more based on just more consistent performances, even though
Yeah.
he would have these just absolutely brilliant short programs and then kind of fall apart in the free. And that is kind of what happened
It's
here.
very much like his short wasn't perfect here, but he was still in it. That free skate was just really unfortunate.
It was a collapse.
It
Yeah.
was a collapse. Like you could feel that it was a mental collapse, not a physical one. He was very well trained. It just didn't happen on the ice, unfortunately. And you could see how tense he was like on our screens. I read several people talking about it like in person. You could just see his warm up didn't go well, and it just carried into the performance. And it's so sad. It's still not, again, similar to Sota. He made the Four Continents team, so that's good. At least it's like a slight, consolation prize. And I just hope he does really well there, honestly. Like, I feel like that'll help him as well make that decision of like, do I keep going or am I done? Is this time to just wrap up the competition side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at Kazuki and Soda, they're both a little bit on the older end. Not geriatric by any means, still could be competitive, but they've been in it for a long time.
Yeah.
And you have to then, at the end of a quadrennial, you have a lot of people saying, okay, do I want to stick around for 2 more seasons the way like a Shoma Uno did?
Yes.
Maybe still try to lock something that they had not accomplished with their career, or do you swan song out and make some other choices? And, it's tough. I mean, we look at like the other, I think, notable senior competitor here was Tetsuya Saboi, who was at Worlds this last year. He landed in 13th, so he was not really in the conversation at all. But then he announced right afterwards that he was retiring from competition. And
which was very surprising.
yeah, I think it even surprised a number of his competitors. I don't really think people knew that that was the plan at all, and he's still a relatively young guy. So I don't know if he was starting to feel diminishing returns or what it was, but and he's a member of that. I don't know if it's Sysmix or whatever, like the skating team that includes like Kaori Sakamoto and Wakaba Higuchi, and from what I understand, like of their like elite team, all but like one of them are retiring this season. So that is like a huge like wiping clean of the slate for that particular skating team. So I don't know what that means for them in the future, but that was surprising from Tetsuya. But I hope that's a choice being made for his personal happiness and well-being and whatever. And so I wish him the best out of that. But yeah, it's unfortunate that he landed outside the top 10. More briefly, because there isn't as many people to talk about in it, we can just go through what happened in pairs in ice dance. Those are much smaller disciplines in Japan, not nearly as deep a field. Now, the ice dance field has gotten deeper this year, which is very exciting.
It is.
But I think when we look at pairs, I mean, that's where they have the reigning world champions and reigning Grand Prix final champions in Riko Mira and Ryuichi Kihara. They were in first after the short program, but I believe that Riku
She
dislocated
dislocated
her
her
shoulder.
shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, not the first one of those we've seen this season, because the Kovalevs had that happen in competition earlier this season as well. Not a great thing for a pair skater or anybody, but definitely not for a pair skater. So they ended up withdrawing. I think that's the right choice because
100%.
even though they don't walk away from this as national champions afterwards, they were always going to be the lock for the Olympic team. And they were definitively in first place after the short, I think by like 12 points or something. So it didn't leave any question marks.
No.
They're solid, they're going, no big deal. What it does mean instead is that the up and coming pairs team of Yuna Nagaoka and Sumitada Moriguchi then got to take first place and become national champions. Not in the way that you want to, but you still are national champions after this, and you are part of the Olympic team.
Which is so cool. And this team, I know I've gushed about them all season. I'm just so impressed with them. They are, I feel like even though they've been around for a while, they're like the breakout team of the season.
They've had such a come up over the course of the season. The quality level of this team has improved dramatically.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that a lot already, so I don't think we have to rehash it significantly, but they are so much fun to watch. I love their short program. The Yellow Brick Road program is so, so good. And they are just a team that you can see that the next few years could be really kind to them. Because the rate that they're improving, the quality of what they bring, the fact that they have been training in other places as well, like we were talking about, like there's a real value to being able to go to, other places in the world, train with other teams, other coaches. I mean, obviously, Riku and Ryuichi have been training in Canada with Bruno for a long stretch, and that has had it's worked out very well.
Yeah, it's been all right.
Yeah, but Yuna and Sumitada have been in Germany, but then, of course, have been working with Kathy Reed in Japan, and also just kind of seeing them develop that sort of international bestie relationship with a lot of people around the world, which is always just a wonderful thing to see. And the level of quality this team is exhibiting is so exciting.
I can't wait to see them at the Olympics, but even more so in the next quad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm psyched for them.
Yeah, definitely team of the future kind of stuff for sure.
Yes. Although I can say the same about a lot of the teams that we saw in the dance event. The winners were who they should be at this point in time. It was Utano Yoshida and Masaya Morita. They've been around. They have done the time. They have their international minimums.
Yeah.
Like and they won this event definitively. So I am excited that they get their Olympic moment and they're on the team and deserve to be. They will only be competing in the team event. They won't be in the dance.
They didn't lock a spot at the Olympic qualifier at the beginning of the season. So yeah, it is just a team thing. But they also did get the nod for continents. So so they're going to get some more experience. And they're a young developing team. They're pretty far back in the ice dance like world in general, but a lot of promise, and it's just a lot of fun to watch.
Yes. But right behind them, especially in the free skate, pretty darn close, Akira Kushida and Kushiro Shimada. You can tell that the Japanese judges are ready for them, like in the, you're not there yet,
Hmm.
but you're close and just keep going. Like they're getting that encouragement that it's they're going to be interesting to watch over the next few seasons. And I really love them both as single skaters. I think it's just time with them. Like
Yeah.
just they just need time together.
Well, and they've only been an ice dance team for like 6 months or something
Yeah,
like that
something like
now,
that.
and they're both coming from singles. So, that's always such a challenge to make that discipline switch, but they already look so good together,
Yeah.
and both brilliant skaters in on singles on their own for sure, and particularly Akira in juniors has been a very compelling single skater. But there is something really, really nice about that team
There is.
together, and I'm very hyped about them. I don't know a couple of these other teams very well, and there's a bunch of these performances we just didn't see because they weren't
Yeah, and I
available
know there
when
were streams available, but with VPN, and we just honestly didn't have time this weekend to
we
do so.
it's the holiday season. I'm point to
Christmas
like Christmas.
sweater.
Yeah. We had a lot of friends and family stuff going on this past
Yes.
week, and couch time. If we were on the couch, we were unconscious.
Yeah.
Watching a lot of things was tough. But the thing that I was most excited to see was Rika Kihira and Shingu Nishiyama, because this is like another team that has only been together for a scant
Yeah,
number of
not
months.
long.
Now Shingo has been an ice dancer for quite a while. His
Yes.
previous partner retired kind of suddenly and left him kind of in the lurch, not knowing what was going to happen with him. And Rika was a singles skater for a long
A
time.
very successful one.
Yes, a very successful one, but then injury had basically stopped her from being able to land jumps comfortably. And she was looking at what was going to happen with the rest of her career. And then I think they did some tryouts and stuff to figure out if it could work, and it clicked. And they look really nice together.
They do.
Even though you can tell they don't have that level of refinement yet. Like, she's very much a single skater coming in and learning the ropes of what it is to be an ice dancer. But I think that already the vibe check is there. I think it's very similar to Akira and Kishiro. Like
They look good together.
they look good together. The match is solid. Like the body movements are already really nice and lining up. And it's so impressive to see all four of those skaters like come into this discipline where there is clearly a lot of opportunity for Japan, because there has not been a very deep field. And again, I don't want to be dismissive of the other teams that were here as well.
Not at
I
all.
just don't really know them to talk about them, but I'm just very excited. I mean, very excited both to continue to get to see Rika and Shingu. There's lots and lots of space to grow, obviously, before they become like competitive.
Yeah.
And both those teams need international minimums and all that stuff. But going forward, I really have high hopes that both of those turn into really wonderful ice dance teams.
And it's really nice to see. I read an article between Rika and Shingo. They obviously get on extremely well and understand each other very well, which is always like such a strong foundation for a team. So I have high hopes for them.
Yeah. I think that your best teams always kind of skate for each other.
Yeah.
That like the first and foremost, that who you have to be skating for is your partner. And when you see skaters like that, when you see that, like them immediately be talking about like putting that energy into each other and making each other proud, and like that's kind of like the first thing that matters. And I feel
For
like you
sure.
already see that with those teams.
I agree. Well, I think we should move on from Japan nationals and talk about French nationals, because those were happening at the same time. And specifically, I think one of the two highest profile competitions was the men between Kevin Amos and Adam Shoham-Fa. And Kevin took that by 30 points, which I didn't watch this competition.
Yeah, we haven't seen any of this, so we're
No.
just going off like the reports and the numbers.
But that's a large gap. So
Yeah.
I am curious to see. I mean, again, numbers aren't as important as placements, like we were saying earlier, when it comes to nationals. And I don't believe France has named their team for the Olympics yet, although it very, very much will be Kevin and Adam, unless there is some catastrophe. However, I did see this morning that it looks like Francois Pitot, who was fourth here, is actually taking Adam's European spot, which is interesting. Like, and I'm sure that that has to be a choice from Adam, that he just can't compete there. So
Yeah.
I need to do some more digging to figure out, like, is he re-injured, or is it more of a, because of the fact that he didn't do as well here as he really needs to going into the Olympics? Like, does he just need more time? I don't know.
I've got to think that if he's pulling out of Europeans, that there is a health issue
That's
there.
my thought as well.
Yeah,
So
that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Like, the performance here, being beat by Kevin by like 30 points.
And I mean, Kevin's been getting better and better since his injury. So
Yeah.
I'm not, it's not that I'm surprised that Kevin won this. I'm not.
No, I mean, it really was a toss-up between the two of them.
Completely.
But I think it's both Kevin and Adam have wild swings in their scores.
Yes.
You know, and particularly over this last season, you know, sometimes they're up in that 270, 280 kind of zone. Sometimes they're in that 240 zone, and which
or
is
lower.
or lower, and which is, you know, we saw Kevin win a competition recently.
I think
with
he had a
like,
233.
Yeah, which kind of told you the level of competition at that event, but also that, like, you know, this is a guy that, you know, we've seen in person get a 282 or something like that. You know, he's capable of a lot more. Again, we didn't see these perform. We only know what the numbers look like. So I got to guess that something isn't quite right with Adam, and they're using that time to work on repairs and saving him up for the Olympics rather than sending him to Europeans. But yeah, sending Francois Pitot in his place is an interesting choice, but
Pitot's been more reliable than like the third place Luka Economides this year, though. So I do feel like that makes sense between the two of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to do some more digging on what's going on with Adam.
Sure.
I think a surprise, in fact, an absolute surprise of who won in the women's event was Stefania Gladkey over Lauren Schild.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Gladkey, it is sometimes really good, but I think that over the course of the last season or so has not really been like in the conversation. Same. I think most of the time when we're looking at the French women, we're always talking about Lauren Schild is the forerunner, and then Leah Serna is the question mark, as, like, you know, is often falling behind her, but, you know, occasionally puts in a good performance and puts a little pressure on her. But yeah, and I think Lauren was first after the short program.
She was.
Looked like she was going to kind of cruise to that championship, but then, like, Stefania slipped in and beat her by about 4 points. So, and she comes in like with a 198.05 here,
and that's a good score.
That's a great score.
Yeah.
I mean, it's much higher than I would typically expect from her. And again, these are national scores, so you never know quite how to take them. But
my thought is really what this means is that Europeans is going to be extremely important.
Yeah.
For who goes to the Olympics.
Yeah, and again, as far as we know, they've made no decisions.
I could say that and then open my phone and see that that's been announced.
As of the moment of us recording this, we didn't find anything where they said who it would be.
The dance competition certainly was the other, like, premier event here. And to no surprise whatsoever, Laurence Fournier-Boudry and Guillaume Cizeron win by 30 points. So it's
absolutely
almost
massive score.
And I mean, I don't really have anything to add there other than, of course they did.
Yeah.
Because
that's expected.
That's expected, and they are one of the 2, maybe 3 teams who have a shot at that gold medal in Milano Cortina. So them doing their job here just makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was the more interesting story to me was just Evgenia Lopareva and Jeffrey Brousseau definitively taking that second spot over Lucia Demogé and Théo Lemercier.
Yeah.
Like, it's again not shocking, feels completely correct, but I am sad for Demogé and Lemercier because I know that they have been working really hard this season. There's only 2 spots to go to Milan, but they are the third place team. They will go to Worlds. Like, it's trying to look for the silver linings for them.
Right, yeah. But I am happy for Lapareva and Brousseau because I do adore that team.
Very much.
And, you know, being relegated to the second French team as the season began has got to be really frustrating after working so hard over the last couple of years. But, and, you know, and being 30 points behind the other team is
I bet that's
probably
actually more.
Yeah. I can imagine some eye rolls from Jenya at some of these. But
also they work with Guillaume. They know how good he is.
Right. Oh
So
yeah, absolutely. I'm sure. I mean, nobody questions it, I'm sure, but it's still going to be frustrating.
yes,
But yeah, I
exactly.
mean, but it's pretty much a given that those are the two teams that
For
they'll
sure.
send. I don't know. I can't see any circumstance where
No.
that would change
No.
unless there was an injury or whatever. But and then of course pairs. Really, it's just the Kovalevs.
There's one team spot and they have it.
Right.
They
Yeah.
locked it with
There
a win.
really just aren't any other French pairs teams that are, at like notable. And I think they're really, it's just about team, right? I don't think they have
Yes. Not at this point.
yeah. The concern that we had was, Camille got hurt at the last event that we saw them at. Again, it was the aforementioned dislocated shoulder that happened on the ice and was very
Ugh.
painful to watch. It sounds like they're doing better. Obviously, they came in here and won. Hopefully, they were taking it kind of easy. But yeah, so they lock it down. No surprise there.
No, not at all. Well, let's finish this up with Italian nationals. Also a competition we did not watch.
Yeah.
But we will talk about Daniel Grassel very easily took this competition. The question I have is that his short program score was 108. I don't care how perfect Daniel Grassel was. No. I'm giving it that is such a national score. Like,
yeah.
I mean, him cracking 100, I can totally, I'm there. 108. Really?
That's like a Canadian score.
It is. And I
Yeah.
mean, and all that said, Daniel Grassel is proving to be a challenger for that podium
Yeah.
in Milan.
He was great at Grand Prix final.
He was great at Grand
Really
Prix final.
compelling. Yeah.
This is not me dogging on Grassel.
Yeah.
It is just saying, come on now.
Yeah, you're putting him in like Ilya and Yuma territory.
exactly.
And he is not.
He is not.
He is not that level.
No, but it's nationals, so have fun with those.
Right. Yeah. Like we've said for years, like national scores like are fake. The placements matter, but the scores like on the international stage are just. We saw some other stuff this weekend where it was just like numbers that were,
they're silly.
Yeah. I think that it's worth noting after the placement after there that the most notable competitor he was going to have at this event was Nikolai Memela, and he withdrew before the event. Nikolai and also Gabriel Frangipani, but he has not actually been good this season. Really, he has just had a string of
really tough season,
really bad performances. So neither of them competed here. But Nikolai was the most obvious guy alongside of him. And then a lot of our conversation has been about Matteo Rizzo and how he has just been kind of steadily diminishing over the course of this last season. And he's almost 40 points behind Grassel here. So
yeah, I mean, he comes in second though. So I don't know what happens here. I would assume that again, it's a Europeans situation.
It's got to be like, I would think that Memela will get the nod at least to go there and.
Well, yeah. And I mean, just see how he does. Cause I know there was injury and it's that I think it's just going to be an interesting thing to watch, but one way or another, Daniel Grassel is a lock. And, and then it's between Memela and Rizzo and yeah, I think it'll come down to Europeans and what happens there.
Yeah. No surprise, but very exciting that in the women's that the Italian champion is Laurinaki Gutman.
I'm so excited.
Super excited. God, we adore Laurinaki Gutman. She is fantastic.
She's so good.
She's so good. She has been on such a rise over the last couple of seasons from a skater that just seemed kind of quirky, but not really on people's radar to now being one of the people who gets talked about a lot. There's a lot. She's generated so much fandom and interest and I think media attention in Italy.
I love seeing her Instagram now where she's like opening packages from designers and like doing commercials. And I'm like, I'm just excited for her because she is like, I don't know that she is the quirky nerd girl that I think she is, but one way or another, I feel like she is not the person that normally gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's not, as glamorous, I'd say, as some of the other girls. And that's not knocking her. She's beautiful. It's not that. It's mostly like how she presents.
Yeah.
Is more the bookish,
uh-huh.
skater. So I don't know. I just love this for her that she's getting the hype and the attention in Italy.
Yeah.
Like she's so unique and different that it just feels a little extra special.
Yeah, I'm just such a huge fan of her skating, of her persona, of her performances, like, and yeah, seeing her, I think this is her fourth Italian
I
championship,
believe
I
so.
think. So obviously, she has been doing very well in Italy for a long stretch, but like getting to have a little bit more of like that it girl factor is
Yes.
terrific. And as one of my favorites to watch, and I feel like I call everybody my favorite because I love everybody, but like, but I really, really like her point of view. I love her programs, and yeah, she has this like such a this like calm persona.
I
Like it's
know.
she's so very different from a lot of
She
the
just
other
seems
skaters.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. Like she's
Like,
very laid back. She's very like she seems very kind but very thoughtful. And maybe I'm like building up some idea of her character in my mind, but like I don't know. There's just something very enjoyable about her presence on and off the ice that I enjoy.
I
But
agree.
you get a second place finish from Serena Yus, who is also a terrific skater, and I think that
Former
like
national champion.
yeah, exactly. Is one of those skaters that occasionally just kind of pops up and does really, really well, and then just kind of fades back into the background for a little while, and then
Yeah.
resurges. And then I think that when you go down into the fourth place position, you see Anna Pizzetta, who is the other skater who we expected to be putting pressure on Lara, but we've been talking about how like
It
she's
just
been
hasn't been her season.
she hasn't been great this season. Yeah,
But she is young. She will get there. I have no doubt that we'll see a lot more from Anna Pizzetta. It just wasn't her year.
yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, wasn't able to put it together. But I think obviously Laurinaki Gutman is the lock. Obviously Europeans, obviously the Olympics. I mean, she is the Italian representative now, and I am thrilled about that.
I am so excited. I started thinking today about who's going to carry flags in the opening ceremony. And I had that thought of like, wouldn't it be cool if it was Lara? But I'm not thinking about other sports, but
Yeah, I'm
I
sure
just
there's a
got
lot of other
excited by
ones
the
that yes,
idea.
but that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know enough about Italian sports to know like what other superstars they have,
And I'm
but
sure there are some, but
yeah.
I'm just putting it out there
Yeah.
into the
But if
universe.
you also have some Italian superstars in this sport, you have Conti and Machi,
You
who
do.
just won nationals definitively.
Like
Again,
real
we've
definitively.
been talking about, again, this entire last season and change about how much this team that has already been on world podiums before and have been in the conversation for 3 years now, uh, like have just been getting better
Yeah.
and stronger and more impressive and just keep giving performances that are thrilling. They should have won the Grand Prix final.
Looking back on it more and more yeah, they should have won.
Yeah, but terrific team, great programs, better all the time. And yeah, and a pretty easy win over their fellow Italian teammates, Rebecca Giardi and Filippo Ambrosini, who still did pretty good here.
Yeah.
Which, this is a team that it can be very inconsistent and really struggles with their like singles elements in their programs, but they did a pretty nice job here. The other unfortunate thing is that Lucrezia Beccari and Matteo Gorizia like withdrew from this event before competing in anything, and I really worry that their career might be over.
I do too.
Just because Matteo is older, is now a dad, and I kind of had the feeling that he was sort of sticking it out to get to like this through this quadrennial.
Yeah,
I
same.
think Lucrezia is the one who has been struggling more with injury, but she's quite young, and I think will still be a like desirable pairs partner after this. So I just kind of had the expectation that Matteo will probably retire after this season, and then Lucrezia is going to be looking for a new like pairs partner.
That is also my
Um,
expectation.
It's a shame because I really like this team and I was really hoping we'd see a little bit more out of them, but I think that means that your locks for all the other stuff for them is pretty obvious. Well, I mean, Conti and Machi are very, very obvious, but Giardi and Brasini getting another shot at the Olympics,
I think that's great.
because they had such a rough go the last time
Yeah.
that I'm sure they would like a little redemption.
Especially on home ice.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And to again, no one's surprise, Charlene Guinard and Marco Fabri very easily and dominantly took their national title. Their score here at 213.41, certainly well above their international score this season, which is as you'd expect.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring to Milan. Like, and I'm also really, really curious to see that European dance championship, because my God, is that going to be interesting?
Yeah, the Europeans is going to be hotly contested.
Yes,
And
because I
yeah.
mean, think about it. It's like You have obviously Guillaume and Laurence will probably win it. I mean, unless catastrophe happens, I
Yeah.
can't imagine they won't. But then Fear and Gibson, you have them. I mean, them as in Guinard and Fabry. You have the Lithuanians. It's like, I don't know. I'm really curious to see how all these dynamics play out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great teams that will be there, and when you know, absent the
Smart and Deke.
yeah, yeah, when you take out you know, the Canadians and the Americans and stuff out of
Yeah.
that equation as well, and yeah, it starts to look very different as far as how that could shake
And
out.
it's also
So
happening in Sheffield. So it's like,
yeah, so
how
you
does
get a
that
you
impact
get a
things?
hometown advantage for Fear and Gibson.
Also, technically, Olivia Smart, but
Well,
only
yeah,
in the
yeah,
sense
yeah,
that she's
yeah.
originally from there.
Yeah, sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, no, yeah, that's gonna
it's
be yeah.
curious. All right. I feel like we are about done because we are
Yeah.
both very tired.
Oh my
And
God.
and if you can't
So
tell,
oh
we're
my
trying
gosh.
to keep the energy up. I think Adrian is about to melt. So let's pick Gold in Our Hearts, which I think
Yuna
is
Aoki.
thanks. You didn't even let me finish a sentence.
It was necessary. Yuna
Fine.
Aoki is Gold in Our Hearts. I know who you were gonna say. I know who I was gonna say. It's Yuna Aoki. Like
It is Yuna Aoki.
her programs are like her brilliant. Her performances were incredible. I'm gonna watch those over and over again. They were thrilling and fun and delightful and luxurious and just the kind of skates that I will share with our like non-figure skating friends and just be like, I think you did that on Instagram on
I
your
did.
personal account to be like, look at this. This is just genuinely love. Like if you're not worried about, if you don't know what skating skills are and you don't know what the difference between a triple or a double or a quad jump is or any of those things, and you're just going to watch somebody who makes skating look delightful, Yuna Aoki is like the poster child for that. Like she is just phenomenal.
She really is. I'm not going to say any more. We're just going to leave it there.
Yeah.
So next week is kind of an off week in terms of what we're talking about. There's no competition because it's the holidays, but I'm guessing it'll probably be sort of a year-end wrap-up or of some sort.
Maybe. We also have another big like video project to kind of complete that hopefully we can lock in by the end of the
I
year.
hope so.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm going to still
But
say there
jamming
will
things in during the holidays can always be kind of tricky. So
that right there.
I'm going to be non-committal.
I'm going to
into
commit
this
that we're
next
going
one.
to do something
Yeah.
and there will be an episode next week.
Yeah. That's fine. What it is though, who knows?
We're
Yeah.
going to be talking about skating.
Yeah. And wearing whatever random holiday nonsense that
I
you
had to
gotta
go like Star Wars nerd aesthetic, but also holiday.
Yeah.
And I like that you went Professor
I
Christmas.
went professor at the university holiday party.
Yes.
I don't normally look like this, but I don't have a cool Christmas sweater. So I was like,
I love that
well,
you called my Star Wars sweater cool.
I think it's cool. Or like, I mean, it just the like, it doesn't in my mind qualify as an ugly Christmas sweater.
Oh, but it is.
I mean, that is beauty in the eye of beholder kind
Fine.
of stuff. Yeah.
Fine.
So in any event, for those of you who got to watch any of these competitions, let us know like what your feelings were about it. Are you weeping, sobbing, throwing up, screaming at the retirements of so many wonderful Japanese skaters? Does that hurt your heart the same way it does ours? But are you also thrilled to see them have good skates? You know, and for the ones who did, and that they get to celebrate their career on home ice with an appreciative crowd. And then outside of all of that, like whatever you and yours celebrate here in the holiday season, Merry Christmas or beyond that, just genuinely hope that you guys are safe, cared for, happy, and that the holiday season, which can be fraught with both wonderfulness, but also can be a really trying time for a lot of people.
Can be very lonely.
Yes. Hopefully that it is a good and genuinely healing and uplifting time for you. And
Or just a restful time, honestly.
yeah, we could all use a little bit of that as well. So we will talk to you after the Christmas holiday here in the States. And for Choreography, I'm Adrian Buskey.
And I'm Wendy Buskey.
And we will talk to you next time.
Bye.